So, yes, everybody has an opinion out there. The gold market in coins, it's not regulated. And, of course, you're going to pay these high premiums. You know, it's like, you know, why would anybody charge a 30% commission on coins and then tell people that they'll buy them back at the same price? If you look at the prices, the wholesale prices today, you're looking at about $10,000 less than what somebody paid for them. Well, why would anybody do that? Why would you pay $10,000 more than what the coin is worth, even though you can turn around and still sell it? You know, there's just a lot of misinformation, coins out there, so give us a call at 1-800-375-4188. We do it better than anyone else out there when it comes to the advice of gold and silver coins and the prices. And always do your comparison shopping. And I'm sure anybody can beat anybody's price at any time. But on a consistent basis and along with my competitors, I'll beat their price anytime. So give us a call at 1-800-375-4188. Can there be a depression at the same time and inflation of the fiat money?
Yes, we have it. We got 9 to 10% inflation right now, down from 13.6% 9 months ago. And as soon as the amounts of money that is being monetized or have been monetized, at least I think for the last 4 months, they'll start hitting in April and May, which is not very far away, and that'll go on for some time. And that is going to stoke hyperinflation. And in spite of the fact that we have deflation of assets continuing to go on at the same time, there's not enough money in the world out there that they can print to make this thing right. They just can't do it. I mean, like the Treasury Department's telling us that $1 trillion is going to solve their problem when they know darn right well that the banking and financial industry problem is well over $5 trillion. And they haven't even talked about derivatives. And so, you know, it's giant. And there's no end to it. There's no escape from this thing. They're just trying to buy time.
Well, aren't the toxic assets the derivatives?
Say that again?
Aren't the toxic assets that they are referring to, aren't they the derivatives?
No, they're not. They're bonds, and the bonds contain debt, and that debt is in the form of residential mortgages, the largest one, which is CDOs, which is collateralized debt obligations, and then there's another kind, which is called ABS, asset-based securities, which includes credit card debits and loans for pools and mobile homes and motorcycles and, you know, just different types of types of loans that people take out. They also are available to the buyers who bought these toxic securities. A good example is Harley-Davidson. We showed it the stock at 58. It traded as low as $8 or $9 here recently. I don't know what it is now, but it'll go lower. In fact, Harley may not even survive this time. And their problem was they were selling bikes to people who couldn't afford them, just like all of the other stupidness that was going on. And so they're not derivatives. They are actually bonds that contain those things. Derivatives are different. They're really insurance. You own $1 million worth of GM bonds, and you're afraid GM might go under, so you go to a derivative writer and you ask them, what would you charge me to guarantee me the principal and interest on my GM bonds I have $1 million worth? And the derivative writer would say, X amount of dollars, and you pay that and you're insured. The problem that's come into the system, there's no regulation. There's no way to control what these people are doing. And we found at Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers and in a giant way at AIG, they wrote the insurance, the derivative, and they received a fee for doing that, and they pocketed the fee and never backed up the insurance part of insuring those bonds. In other words, they stole the money, and it went into the bottom line, and their stock went up and that sort of thing. And this is all criminal action. You know, they let the people in the brokerage business get away with murder for years. You know, the SEC comes in and says, well, we know you did this and you shouldn't have done it. So what the attorney for the company says, well, let's middle this thing and let's talk about how we can make it go away without admitting or denying. And the attorneys come to a conclusion that they're going to fine XYZ company $10 million for doing what they did. And so it's all really a extortionary process that you hope you don't get caught up in. And probably 95% of the people who are in the brokerage business are breaking the law every day. I know, I've been there.
Do you think that Bernanke and Geithner know what their policies are going to crater the U.S. economy and they are just pretending to be sincere, or do they think they are doing the right thing but are actually being set up by the Illuminists who tell them what to do and will end up being the fall guys?
They'll be the fall guy, but that's what they get paid for. And they know that. And they are, in all likelihood, members of the different Illuminist groups, like the Council on Foreign Relations. So they're part of it all. They know what's going on. That's the part they play.
Why do you consider the nation of Israel to be illegitimate?
No, I don't call it illegitimate. I think the problem with Israel is, number one, Zionism has nothing to do with the Jewish religion and everything to do with an expansionary policy of power. And they run around over there, the leadership, like they were a bunch of Nazis. And they persecute and prosecute other people who are in their vicinity, attack them wantonly, and so on and so forth. Not that the other people can't share the blame. They can. And these protagonists have been at each other's throat since the late 1940s, and it's not going to stop. And there's a great long history to this thing that goes back much, much further. But, you know, if Israel would stay within the bounds of what it has, there wouldn't be a problem, but they continue to expand on other people's territory. And besides, they don't belong to the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, and they've been secretly building atomic and then nuclear bombs to bomb people with. And it was one of the things that Jack Kennedy told them that they would have to cease. And that's why Premendex and the Mossad were among the people who murdered the President of the United States. And that's a fact, Jack. In fact, I knew the guy that used to be the paymaster. His name was Tibor Rosenblum.
What do you think will happen at the G20 meeting coming up on April 2nd as it relates to the U.S. dollar value and status as the world reserve currency?
Well, I think they're going to go to a basket of currencies, and they're all fiat currencies, so they're going to accomplish nothing. They just kind of change horses in the same race. You know, the guy on horse A will get on horse B, and the guy on horse B will get on horse A. You know, nothing's going to change because, you know, the other currencies aren't any better. They all have nothing backing them. The euro has gold backing it. It's the only one. But what's the backing? We don't know. They won't even tell us. It used to be 15%. I figure it's about 6 or 7%.